Right. Thanks for being here. I'm going to read some of this. All right. I want to make sure I got
Okay.
it right. Straight from the website, folks. You got your bachelor's in biomedical engineering.
Correct.
That means you're really smart. Hey, Tommy, what do you think? I think she gets an A there from John Hopkins, of course. And we have heard about John Hopkins so often recently,
Now,
probably,
yes.
I don't know, 20 times a day we hear
Exactly.
about it. And good
Mhm.
for them and good for you.
Thank
And then you got your MD at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York.
Correct. The Icahn School of Medicine there.
Right, that's a big deal. All right. And you trained at Columbia.
Presbyterian
My-
Hospital.
Wow.
Ah.
Okay. And then you completed a clinical cardiology and cardiovascular prevention fellowship under Dr. Fauster. He must be a big deal.
Not interventional, general cardiology.
Yeah.
Fauster. Yes.
Fauster. I knew we were
He's
close.
a pretty big deal. Yeah.
Okay. So then you just, and after school and after all those years of education, for our folks, which are some graduate school, all right?
Mhm.
So after you're undergraduate,
Mhm.
how many years is it until you say, okay, I'm in practice?
Undergraduate. So after Johns Hopkins, I actually did an extra year research year. So for me, it was a little bit longer, but you have 4 years of college, and then you go straight into medical school, which is 4 years. So roughly 8 years
And then
after high school.
okay, and you got a bunch of other years in there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. She doesn't want to say. All right, she's 22.
We'll stop
folks.
there, though. We'll stop
Okay.
there.
And let me see if tell us that you're board certified in
Correct.
certain. Tell us about that.
I'm board certified, which means that I took a test that means I'm certified in internal medicine, cardiology, and echocardiography, which is an imaging tool for the heart.
So with internal medicine, so does that mean that you also do things other than heart, or is that really where you come?
I can. It's more of a supplement, really. It's to back up everything that you've already learned with cardiology. My main focus is cardiology, but I can also do internal medicine. Yes.
So board certified means you've earned the right to be a cardiologist, not a GP that listens to your heart.
Correct. That you can have actually a doctor to not be board certified, but it gives you a little extra, credit to be able to pass this extremely long test.
Yes. So you were with Baptist. You did right now. You're with MyCardiologist. All right.
Correct. Yes.
Tell us about the medical practice.
Well, it's huge. We've got 25 cardiologists. It's multidisciplinary, which means you've got electrophysiologists, which take care of the electricity of the heart. You've got the plumbers, which are the interventional cardiologists. You have people that focus on the pump, the heart failure specialists. I'm an imager, so I focus on imaging, but I can do anything since I'm general. I can see anybody, but I like to focus as well on the imaging of the heart, so I can read those on the side.
So if somebody was to go see you, you may, after you do some initial tests, you're going to go, listen, I think you got these other issues going on. My compatriot over here is a specialist in that, and I think you ought to see him.
Exactly. It's much more streamlined. It's much easier. You know the person, you're in the same group, so you're able to just send them down the hallway, basically.
So Dr. Soto, so right now the practice, you practice at the doctors go to Baptist?
I practice mainly out of Doral.
Okay.
So they have a Doral office, Kendall, South Miami, Coral Gables. So I'll be at Doral.
So over at the Doral office, if you say, hey, I think you need to go in the hospital for some further tests, and then they can, what hospital might they go to?
Well, technically they can go to any hospital. I have contacts and we speak to all the doctors in different hospitals. So it's not like anybody would be out of the loop. But I would prefer Baptist because that's where I can go and see them personally myself and my team as well. But I can go anywhere.
The Doral area, as you know, I think it's one of, if it's not number one.
It's fantastic.
It is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right. The government's pretty stable right now. All right. Every type of business is there, from the smallest to international. All right. There's so many health facilities there. And, Kendall Regional has a facility there. Jackson's got this huge facility. I don't know how long is that going to be until it's open, or did it just?
I have no clue.
It's
but it's running very quickly. They've done really good.
Yes, and there's some major contributors to that. We want to thank the Milton family, for donating a lot of money
Yes.
for doing that.
Yes.
I'm still looking to go buy my Radio Shack computers out of that building from 20 years ago. All right. So out of all the practices that you go to, why did you choose the medical practice called MyCardiologist, which I think is great because I always tried to have to explain it, all right?
Yeah.
Because when I say MyCardiologist, people go, yours, and no, that's the name of the practice. So why did you choose it?
Oh, there were so many options and very good teams out there. Miami is very strong in the cardiology department, but this specific group had exactly what I was looking for. It had people with extremely good backgrounds, very well trained physicians that I could work in a team with. No physician works alone. No physician is an island. So needed a good group, a support team. I also wanted individuals that had a very good reputation within the community, which they do. And all of my friends, my doctor friends, I would call them up and say, hey, who do you recommend? And this group was at the top of the list. And they are associated with a very good hospital. So it was an easy choice.
I had the pleasure of meeting several of the docs. Yasser Rodriguez, I get it. Is that?
Van Osse.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
And then you had somebody that was from the Netherlands. I forget his name. But anyway, very nice folks, all young, no gray hair over there. All right, at least the people.
No, we have gray hairs. It's just very well hidden.
Well, so a lot of people, if they're really lucky, they get to know what they want to do when they're little kids, right?
Yes. Yes.
So tell us about your journey to become a physician.
I was extremely lucky because my parents were physicians. My father was a cardiologist in the community, and from very early on, he just instilled that passion that he had for cardiology into me. And I can tell you precisely, in middle school is when I decided I wanted to be a doctor. And then later on with anatomy and all of the courses and dissections, I knew the heart had to be the best thing.
So when you would take anatomy, it sort of reinforced.
Oh yes, oh yes. Cutting the hearts open and the frogs, it was fantastic.
So middle school is like 6th, 7th, 8th grade?
Exactly.
When Michael Jackson was this big, you knew he was going to be a star.
If you
watch, exactly.
Yeah. Of course.
Right. And so when you were in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, you just knew.
Oh yeah, I knew. I almost felt weird because everybody else had their epiphany moment. In high school or in college, they have their epiphany moment. What am I going to major? What am I going to be when I grow up? I never really had that. I always felt like I always knew, and it's nice in a way because it feels like it's in my blood, it's dinner around the table. At home is just all medical talk.
So often we don't think that environment has a big play in what we do.
Absolutely. It's absolutely genetics and environment as well.
And you go, if you hang around those people, whoever those people are, you know,
Exactly.
something happens inside where you start making decisions. Gee, I want to do that, whatever that happens to be.
Absolutely.
Right?
There's a large influence. My mother's a physician as well in the community. So, I mean.
We were with a gentleman yesterday from a healthcare facility here in Dade County. And his mother and father were physicians. The mother went to medical school when she was 40.
Oh, fantastic.
4 out of the 6 children are doctors.
Wow.
All right. And it was like, and so you say, of course, it had everything to do with that environment and to instill the confidence if they can do that. And I mentioned earlier, I used to run marathons. And when I was doing the New York Marathon the first time, and they said, good morning, athletes. I looked around and I go, I'm one of them.
Of course you are. Yes.
And it's like, holy moly. It was that sort of, as you say, epiphany. Oh, you can do this. All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so one of the things I made sure I did was hang around other people that were doing things that I wanted to do. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I used to be a registered nurse a long time ago. And I know that associations have everything to do with how you can help people. I can't tell you how many young people that were in their senior year at FIU in physical therapy, and I'm sorry, in coaching, whatever sports thing, I would bring them to my house, and I would make sure I either had graduates, people with graduate degrees, or MDs, or PhDs. I said, "Come here," and one of them got in physical therapy. That's a PhD now. One is a nurse practitioner, and the other one just started nurse practitioners. I'm going, how great that was to be able to get them in the environment, which they would never have done that, right?
Right.
Because of where they were, right?
Right.
We got them around, and as for fun one night, they had all a little bit too much. 2 o'clock in the morning, they were all jocks. They got a big rope, and they were pulling their Jeep up and down the street.
Okay.
So you can imagine that. So environment has everything to do with that. And when people are in when they go to your practice, tell us about what you think they're feeling, and how you're going to help them feel a little bit more comfortable.
Well, I think from what they tell me is a lot of them are nervous. They're scared. And a lot of them don't want to come see me. They either come with a spouse, or the wife made them come in, or something had to happen for them to come and see me, whether it was, chest pain, or, palpitations, racing heart, something that scared them, prompted them to come in. That's a subset. Then you have the worried well, which come in and they just want to check themselves. They want to make sure that they're in tip-top shape for whatever, event or exercise or anything like that. And they come in. So you get a mix of a lot of people, but a lot of people are mostly prompted by something that happened in their lives.
I'm glad you brought that up. We know that men die earlier.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And tell us why that might be.
Oh, because women are superior? I don't know.
Tommy, there you go.
Done, settled. Right. No, women tend to have not as many risk factors, less risky behavior as well. And there is some theory that within our genetic makeup, we have more telomeres, we have more years to live per se. So women, the hormones, they say, also plays a role into living a couple of more years. So it's great, but it also means that as we age, we're going to encounter more diseases.
So a single guy at home, age 55, when he has the problem, versus a same age guy with a wife. How's it going to get? Which one's going to get to the doctor faster?
Absolutely, the one with the wife. That's been my experience. Now, of course, this is not everybody. There are a lot of men that say, there's something's wrong. I need to seek help, and they Google, find a cardiologist. They bump into me
because they're going to go to MyCardiologist, and you're going to be there.
Exactly.
By the way, great website. Right?
Yes.
You can on the website, you can you can text somebody and they can text you back, right? Pretty nifty.
Yeah.
And there was a time where they weren't texts, many years ago. So now we're realizing that most texts are answered very quickly, as compared to emails. All right.
Right.
I see lots of people, they don't answer the voicemail anymore, and it's sort of like, why? All right. So let's get back to the 50, 60-year-old guy that's at home, that he has some ailment, and he doesn't have anybody to bounce it off of, or maybe he's looking for some support to get him to the doctor. So what are some things that a guy or lady should be looking for when they have, even if in a wellness check themselves?
You mean at home?
At home, yes.
At home, there's so many things that you can do. I mean, the first thing that you do, men or women, because we're both, victims of this, we either downplay our symptoms or we are in denial. So the first thing you can do is be honest with yourself and say, do I really feel X, Y, or Z, right? And then look at your activities. Your activities are probably the best way to gauge if you are doing well or not. If you used to be able to walk 1 mile and now you're not, if you used to be able to go up those 2 flights of stairs and now you're not, then something is wrong. Anybody can take their pulse nowadays, and everybody has an iWatch. So that is one of the other measures that you can take and see how things are going, as well as blood pressure. You can also check that. They have machines, at CVS or pharmacies. So there's so many things you can do.
So I used to take my blood pressure more often, but I have it inside whenever, I should be doing it all the time. It's whenever I feel like I should do it, which of course it's either up, down, or in the middle.
When you're nervous, yeah.
Yes. So, and there are lots of folks when they go to the doctor's office that they're nervous. It's like, as soon as we see the white coat, we go, all right, that's it. Bingo. Right?
Yes. I mean, I know this for sure. Every time I see a new patient, I know that blood pressure is going to be elevated, or it's going to be higher than their normal. So it takes a couple of visits to actually bring that down and see their true blood pressure.
So can we talk about cholesterol?
Sure.
Okay. So still confused after all these years. Good cholesterol, the bad cholesterol.
Uh-huh.
What are some foods or supplements or something that might affect that change of it going up or down?
Okay. So the bad cholesterol, for sure, diet is huge. So if you go to McDonald's, you're going to see a raise in that, the bad cholesterol, which is the LDL. If you're going to, eating fast food every day, you're not exercising, that is definitely going to go up. And your HDL, which is the good cholesterol, would come down. Now, if you start exercising, your HDL actually comes up and your LDL comes down. So lifestyle has a huge impact on your cholesterol. Huge.
So if you were looking at somebody's blood work and say you've done it 4 times over 2 years, you could look at it and you know what they've been doing or not doing.
Oh, absolutely.
No matter what this
Oh,
says.
absolutely. And the
Have you been exercising?
too.
Yeah. Really? Okay.
Absolutely. Now, it may be, of course, it may be harder for some to bring it down. They may be running 3 miles and it's just not budging. And some people have familiar diseases that make it much harder for their cholesterol to come down. But I can definitely tell if you're making a little bit of an effort, and also if you're taking your medication. So if you're taking your medication, there is definitely some clue there.
When we do a lot of digital work, no matter what people say, we know what they're doing or not doing. It's just the way that the way that is. So we've seen recently that for $100 you could buy this widget, you put your thumbs on it, and it does your an EKG and can send it to the doc. So can you tell us about any one of those?
Yeah, I can tell you. Years ago, I purchased one actually. It was the Alive Core, and it's excellent. You basically have a little pad with 2 little metal strips on them. You can put it on your cell phone. You put one finger, and then usually you can have a third. You put it on your lap, stabilize it, and it tells you one lead EKG. So it tells you a bit about what type of rhythm you're having in your heart and the rate. A lot of these apps now can tell you whether it's abnormal. It can even diagnose you with a certain rhythm, and it automatically forwards it to your doctor. And it's fantastic.
Wow. I'm still have one of those flip tops. No, not really. All right. You were probably very young, but there used to be when you first had the texting, you would have to do the same letter a couple times.
Absolutely.
Right?
Of course. Yeah. I had
those.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Of course. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. So what are some of the things in the environment that might affect our overall health, whether it's right now about COVID? You want to talk about COVID for a little bit?
If you want to.
Okay, good. So one of the things that I know people are concerned about going to a physician.
Right.
They're scared to go to be around other. Oh, by the way, folks, there's glass in between us.
Yeah,
and we took a temperature. It took us 4 times to get it right, but we did, and we have these right here. Clean our hands, and there's this glass between us over there. All right. So a lot of people tell us they're afraid to go to the doctor because they don't want to go in a waiting room with other people. And it's ironic that over all this time, but they're happy to go out to dinner and sit without. I go, so let me see if I got that right. You'll go to a restaurant and sit there with 25 people in the room or with no mask for 45 minutes.
Right.
So tell us about in your practice how you move patients, if you will, from their cars through your practice.
So basically, right now COVID is, affecting all of our lives. But the safest thing you can do is keep your distance. Keep your distance. Even without a mask, you can keep your distance. Now, definitely wear that mask on top of that. So whenever you come to the clinic, the first thing you're going to do is call the office. You're not going to sit in a waiting room. They're going to shuffle you in directly into the room so you're alone. And comparing it to, let's say, going to a restaurant where you're indoors with other people in a very close-knit environment without your masks on, that's very dangerous. I actually feel safer in a clinic environment than I do, let's say, going to Publix or Walmart, because people are running around with their masks, up below their nose, on their chin. Some people take off their mask to sneeze or cough, which is, counterintuitive. So I actually recommend, if you are worried, don't be scared to come and see your doctor, to come see a cardiologist, because the precautions that are being put in place are just incredible.
So I've read some of the figures where there've been more at-home deaths because people are afraid to go in for their regular
Yeah.
checkup. And I sort of see that, I went for some knee stuff and blah blah blah. And first I was hesitant. I go, no, you need to go. All right. And it was fine.
Right.
And in other practices, I see that everybody handles a little differently. There's one dentist I know wears a hood. I mean, everything. Another
Yes.
practice who was just here,
Right.
right? There was orthopedic where they only allow a certain amount of people in the waiting room, but they move it pretty quickly.
Right.
And you can see that. So we've sort of figured out how to go in between, and hopefully in the next couple of months we're going to have the vaccine, all right,
Yes.
for each of us.
Yes.
All right. I'm
Yeah.
right behind your
Yeah.
group. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and it's so ironic that here we are so close and so many people are getting sick and dying.
It's
Yeah.
really sad. Yeah, it is really sad. I wish that they would just hold strong. COVID fatigue is real. It's draining on everybody. But the last thing you want to do is get sick or get a family member sick, and God forbid, have them go into the hospital. And that's just not what we want to see from anybody. So we're holding strong. Keep your masks on, keep your distance, and wash your hands.
I get tested all the time
Mhm.
because it reminds me that I have to pay attention. All right. And it's like I go, my brother goes, we go.
Mhm.
All right. At least once a week now. All right. And why do I do it? Number one, we have a lot of people walking, through the building with a lot of people. But I know that you're doing the right thing. Like everything here gets cleaned between everybody.
Right.
And I have the cleanest hands in town, I can assure you. And
I don't know about that.
so we know people are afraid to go,
Right.
and so they have more cardiology problem, more health problems. Right?
Yes, they stay at home. They stay at home.
There's somebody I know, he had a couple months ago, he had some diabetic problems, and I think that he just waited a little bit too long, and it just aggravated his condition. He's alive, but it was just enough to scare him.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to get to that tipping point to go see a doctor. You really don't. Sometimes it can be a little too late, so do not avoid the doctors. No.
So when we hear these reports that the ICUs are pretty full, all right, and that now there are outside other temporary locations for them. People want to know, is that still secure enough for them to be treated? Are they going to be treated okay, or because it was in some parking lot that therefore it's not any good?
Oh, you mean going into a hospital?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I think that, again, one of the safest places to be is in a healthcare facility. Most of the spread, they've realized, has been actually in home gatherings. So Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, all those things is what is really truly spreading this.
When we look at that, it was almost as though they had no control over the holidays, that they had to go do it. It was like it was this animal habit. What do you mean? They couldn't control it. All right.
Yeah, it's a ritual. They're accustomed to it. It's some people in their own ethnicity, their religion, or whatever it may be. It's just something that, and people are thirsty to come and see their family members and to gather again. So I understand the need to do it, but again, don't do it. Don't do it.
I was saying to my friends, we have to live long enough to get the injections, right?
Yes.
And I have a couple of grandchildren, and they're here in town. We FaceTime each other.
Yeah.
And they have their phone, and this is the conversation like this. They run around, they're holding, and I'm going, this is great. And so we just put it on the dining room table. They're running around their room, and we have this conversation. And we want to be alive long enough to be with them.
Exactly.
Right? And you just have to be patient. And for all my buddies out there, just be cool. Just hang tough. All right, it'll be good.
Yeah, just hang on a little bit longer. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
So when people go to see you, do they talk about the COVID at all?
All the time.
All right. And do they tell you how stressful it was for them to wind up seeing you?
I have so many, not only patients but friends as well, that just are so nervous about COVID and the side effects that it could have an impact to the heart, that it's affecting everybody. It's affecting everybody, healthcare workers, the patients, the family members, everybody. So it's definitely something that has to be dealt with.
When I see young people basically ignoring it, all right,
Yeah.
and I look at it, I go, wow. And when you're 20, you think that
You're invincible.
and then you get to be about 40, you go, well, I got this little ache.
Yeah. I mean, I think social support, having your friends, having your family members keep up the same efforts also helps, the young people that are out, let's say, partying or, you know, doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
So tell us about, if you would, one of the things you studied was the electricity in the heart.
No.
Echo. I'm sorry.
Yes, it's the imaging.
And the imaging. It's sort of like a sonogram with the heart. Do I have that right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's explained to anybody. If you have a pregnant woman, when they go have the jelly on the belly and they put the probe on the
I
belly,
like that.
that's it. That's what it is. Except instead of the belly, it's the heart. That's on the chest. So there's sound waves that give you beautiful images of the heart.
And when you look at that, you get almost an inside look about what's going on.
Oh, inside look. Yes, you learn so much information regarding the chambers, the function, the valves. It's very neat.
And you're still, after all these years, you're still amazed by it.
Oh no, I love it.
Yes,
I love
it. See, back there, I'm back in 8th grade. I'm cutting up that little frog, man. It's so great.
Poor frog.
So there's some young lady, some young man that's out there right now trying to figure out what he wants to do or she wants to do.
Yes.
Why don't you talk to him right there?
Just follow your heart. It'll come to you. Try different things. Try different things in your life. Don't be afraid to try new things that you would not even think that you would like, and it will definitely come to you.
It's very good advice. And when I was graduating from wherever it was, I said to my father, he said, what do you want to do? I always knew, but I didn't want to say it. I said, I don't know what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so he said, well, why don't you do whatever you want to do and do the best you can at it? And then when you don't want to do it anymore, go do something else. And so that was 40 some odd years ago. And outside the building, we have a bronze thing where I put that in there, right? Because that's the way it is.
You try different things, yeah.
So let's look down the road for you a couple of years, and you say that would you think that you'd be involved in charities and community activities?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so tell us some of those things that you do.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm actually a very big proponent of St. Jude. I think that if in any way you can, give to the community. Just now, one of the preschool, the school for my daughter had a drive to give gifts and canned goods to, it's a facility in Homestead for children that are underprivileged, as well as in Hialeah, nurses, nuns that run a daycare for kids that are underprivileged. So definitely contribute to that. I just think it's absolutely necessary. If you are in the position to give and to have more than you need, to definitely give back to your community. I think it's an honor, it's a privilege, but it's also, I think, necessary to do that.
And I agree with you. And one of the things that happens when you give, whatever that is, of your time, the money's an easy thing, all right?
Money comes and goes.
When you give to the point to where you are feeling it, I'm getting goosebumps, you go, wow, that was really cool to be able to do that.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
And one of the things we did a show, and we talked about there was going to be a food drive. This is a couple of months ago. And somebody saw the show and gave to the food drive. $5,000. A few weeks ago, Rabbi Yossi Harlig, doing a shout out for you. See you soon, Rabbi Harlig. A friend of his called from Michigan and said, "Hey, Rabbi, happy birthday." He says, "Well, that was a couple months ago." He said, "Well, I saw you on the show the other day." He said, I'm gonna make a donation," and it was $5,400.
Wow.
So Tommy and I, we were just like blown away. And to be part of that, to help facilitate that, is something that we love doing. Right?
That's huge.
So kids, wherever you are, people, wherever you are, make a donation, whether it's in the food drive anywhere in Dade County. All right.
Yes.
And it's
anything is appreciated.
A friend of ours had a child at, I was going to say Variety, in Miami Children's. That's the name of, no, it's not, St. Nicholas. So I was walking the halls. This is pre-COVID. I said, the people here are doing really serious work. When you, and it was like, and I've been from there all the way up to, nursing homes and that whole range. It was so significant for me. I said, oh my God, look at all these kids here that need help. So if you can help do that, all right, and you're going to feel a whole lot better. And when you give like that, all right, they're happier, more fulfilled, all right.
And just children, children are just so innocent, and they're just pure. And my sister-in-law is a pediatrician. Just dealing with children sick children is heartbreaking. So I think it's it's truly heartwarming.
Okay, we have 2 minutes left. All right. So again, you chose MyCardiologist medical practice. You had heard about it from your friends. You started there right before COVID.
Oh no, during COVID.
Oh, during COVID you started.
During COVID. So I'll be in the Doral office in January, but yeah, during these tumultuous times is when I'm getting back into it.
In a couple 6 months, we're going to be able to look back and say, "Oh my goodness, we made this!" All right, and we will be better for it. That we understand about life, and the importance. And I see some hesitation in your face.
No, I think we're going to be stronger for it. I think we're going to be stronger. I think we're going to have much more camaraderie in the community. I think we're going to come out of this with much more hope in the future. Yeah, definitely.
It certainly has changed a priority. I spent more time at home. My wife's spent more time at home, and she did, by the way, redo most of the house since March. And it was like every day it's a new day. So usually on Saturdays I come up to the office for a couple hours, and so I called her on one Saturday and I said, I'll be there in half an hour. She says, "Why are you coming home early?" I go, "I don't know, just coming home." She said, "There may be a truck in the backyard. Please don't bother the guys." I said, "Okay." I get up as I'm driving up this huge truck with all my old stuff from the barn. We have a barn. I said, "Okay, I get it." All right, she cleaned it out. So I've learned more about my spouse since March than in many, many, many years. That all those years that it was, I would go in the back, I'd show her all the stuff that I was doing. She wanted to do that. So now she's taken that. And at night, she takes me out. I said, "You want a flashlight?" I said, "You want to show me?" And when I recognized that we want to be fulfilled, all right, as human beings. So give your spouse a shot, all right, at being fulfilled, and let him do some things, all right, or her, all right. And so I learned that a lot. I learned to love my wife more than before, all right, well, because we're spending more time together. And because you realize if you get COVID in 3 weeks, you could be really in deep trouble.
Yeah, and who's going to take care of you?
And we happened to go to a funeral yesterday, and it was like, I was there, and you start thinking about that whole life cycle. It's interesting because there it was at the funeral, and the granddaughter just had a baby. So there it is, right? One ship coming in and one ship leaving.
Yeah.
All right.
Circle of life.
And if your ship is not ready to leave, you need to go see Dr. Soto, right, to take good care of you. All right. So it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you. And you are a blast. All right.
Thank
you. Your family's very lucky.
Thank
so
you.
congratulations
I
on
am
that.
as well.
And again, Dr. Ana Victoria Soto from MyCardiologist. You can find them on online. They got a really neat website for you guys that enjoy websites. You can see all the latest up to date. My congratulations to your webmaster over there.
Thank
you. Say hi to the docs over there, a few of them that I've met.
Will do.
And I want to thank Tommy for producing the show. Again, this is live with Miami's Community News, folks. Have a